Now, you had Al Pacino between Godfather 1 and Godfather 2, and you had him again immediately after Godfather 2, in what is, I think, considered the arc of his career where he was burning at his brightest. Serpico is 74.
I'm terrible on years, don't ask me.
What was that like as an experience to get someone who was relatively unknown at the outset going through that arc, Two Dog Day Afternoon, which has become a legend?
There was no difference in the two working experiences. The parts were totally different. But in terms of Al and behavior and becoming a major star and all that, nothing happened. He's a passionate artist. He knows what he's doing. He's got a firm technique. He's deeply involved in the picture. It's never about ego. It's never about a personal display. And he's very pure about what he is doing. He doesn't muddy it. It's not only no ego, he doesn't imitate himself. He almost never gives you two takes in a row that are identical. Something will always change. There'll always be a variation. He keeps himself fresh. And he's a complete joy. There's always the problem, which is interesting. At that time in his acting, if he couldn't separate his downtime from his performing time. So if it was a scene about anger, he'd kind of keep stewing and keep angry all day. If it was a lighthearted scene, he's very funny, and he'd keep it bubbly all day. I remember telling him that, because I had, in between those two pictures, I'd worked with Albert Finney on Murder on the Orient Express. And I said, Al, you've got to work with Albert one day, because his technique is firm enough that he can literally turn it on and then turn it off. That doesn't mean that he goes kidding around between takes, but he sits down, he stops, and let's go, Albert, and you see him turn on, because it is possible, and Al has learned to do that, actually. But other than that, let me put it this way. The only one who suffers when Al is working is Al.
Albert Finney is a British theatre tradition. Al Pacino is Stanislavski. How on earth would you put them in the same room together?
Oh, no problem. No problem. I mean, Murder on the Orient Express is a perfect example. I mean, everything from Gielgud, speaking of an auditory sense of creating a performance, Gielgud on the one extreme to Vanessa Redgrave on the other. And I like to think that they all looked as if they belonged in the same movie.
Does that, for you, mean that the actual method, working method of the actors, whatever method they're choosing, is essentially what works for them, and for you is absolutely irrelevant?
Absolutely. I don't care how they work. None of my business how they work. My job is to become what they need. And that's not hard. I'm open to them. I hear them. I feel them. And we get it done.